no, I hate football. What are you talking about? And I was like, well, guys, calm down. Definitely he's the best. I'm like, I'll give it a rest. You've never even seen him play. Imagine if your kid was like, nah, I'm a City fan.
They wouldn't be my child, send off.
That and more coming up in the next few minutes as myself and Angelina are here to answer your questions. As always, on a Friday. Okay, you start. You're up first.
Okay, so the first question is from Yasin Chowdhury. So, do you think Gabriel Jesus can take on the mantle as City's main striker after Aguero leaves and score the goals? Or do you think City will have to look elsewhere?
I don't know. I was never the biggest Gabriel Jesus fan. I always just thought there was a bit like... I just thought he was a bit petulant and a bit inconsistent, and obviously that comes from not really playing too much because Aguero is the main guy. But, the last year or so, I'm starting to think he could be a serious player. Like, really, really good. The only issue I worry with him is that every time a club gets rid of a big player, everyone kind of demands a big player replacement.
Yeah.
I just like, if you were to sell Aguero, everyone will be like, reinvest the money, man. We need a big Aguero signing. And then, if the board came out and said, we've just got 100 million, I mean, they're not going to get it for Aguero, but if the board came out and said, we've just lost our greatest goal scorer of all time, but don't worry, we'll just, we'll promote from within. We'll just stick with what we've got. That doesn't really sound like a transfer strategy that many big clubs are employing. Just sticking with what you've got and sitting on the Aguero money. The fans will be demanding blood. The fans will be demanding 100%. A brand new Aguero.
I think the fans will be wanting, I don't know, like Messi's son or something like that. Something ridiculous like that. Because isn't he like, him and Messi are quite good friends, aren't they?
I think he's the godfather of Messi's son.
Like you need to go and have a word with Messi's son, like get him in like the academy, and he needs to be the next big thing.
But this is the thing, and I feel like City have the same issue with Phil Foden. Phil Foden is brilliant in my eyes.
Yeah.
With more game time and further development, especially under Guardiola, he can replace David Silva in the squad. But when Silva leaves in the summer, a legend is gone, and they will want a new signing. They will want a massive replacement. If they lose one of their greatest players in the last decade, right? Are they really going to come out and say, yeah, we don't need anyone else, it's fine, we'll just put Foden in? No, they're going to want a big name.
Yeah, especially with, keeping up with Liverpool and stuff like that. Fans, like you say, they're going to want a big name.
Exactly. Can you imagine if United lose Pogba and they're like, yeah, it's okay though because we've got Gomez and Tahith Chong on long-term deals? No, absolutely not. They're going to be demanding that the Pogba money is reinvested in I don't know, Saul or someone like that. Anyway, that's my rant, and that's why the Man City shirt's here. Right, next up, this is interesting. There's an account called Matt Froelich. It's not me,
Have you got
guys.
Something you need to tell us? No?
It's not me. If I was to create a fake account on YouTube, I wouldn't use my own name.
Nah, I don't think you would.
Yeah, I would. So if you see this name in the comment section, yeah, it's not me. I have a burner account, but obviously I'm not using my own name. Anyway, this Matt Froelich, it might just be another person with the same name.
Maybe.
Said, could Pep return to Barcelona if Man City ban stays? So if the UEFA ban sees them out of Champions League for 2 years.
I mean, technically, there's nothing stopping him from going back if he wanted to. I just cannot see it happening. I think regarding the City situation, I think ban or no ban, I don't think he's done there. I can see why people would say, 2 years, he's going to go and blah, blah, blah. But I feel like until they get that Champions League, I think he's still got work to do. So I could maybe see him staying. But at the same time, 2 years for some people is a long time. And he's been kind of moving across Europe, making a name for himself in each country. So you could maybe see him going to Italy, maybe. But going back to Barcelona, I just think it is it's just dangerous because, if he can't replicate, it's very, very, very difficult to replicate what he did. That is once in a lifetime. And it's not saying like, he's not as good of a manager or something now, so he's not going to be able... Not at all. He's still, a fantastic manager. But to replicate that he did, and I just feel like he's got nothing to prove at Barcelona. He's done it all. I could maybe see him going back, I don't know, towards the end of his career, maybe as like, to round it off nicely, if they were in trouble, which I highly doubt. But I can't see him going back there. I just think it's too... He's done it all, and if he maybe didn't do as well, fans turning on him, his reputation.
This is the thing.
Tarnished.
You can't.
No.
He is one of these situations where you can't win. You can only match what you did before or fail.
Yeah.
He can't win. I'd be amazed if he went back. I think they're looking at Xavi for the future anyway. Yeah,
definitely. Okay, so next question is from Wojciech Gozdziuk, I think. Apologies. So
our Polish team member would be offended by that.
I know. I'm sorry. So Bundesliga is back. Are you happy that we can finally watch football?
No, I hate football. What are you talking about? It's not like I work for a football channel. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm delighted that it's back, and as well, like an interesting league as well.
Yeah.
No offense, but if like Liga had returned, you'd be a bit like, I'm just going to sit and watch PSG win every game and win the title. The Bundesliga is one of the best title races this season.
Definitely.
Can Leipzig continue their good form? Are Dortmund going to finally manage to actually challenge Bayern seriously, or are they going to run away with it? Champions League spaces are up for grabs. I think the Bundesliga is one of the better ones to return, and of course. Plus, returning with Schalke versus Dortmund, a massive derby is, that's amazing. That's pretty damn good. To be fair, though, when the Premier League returns, the first game is Tottenham Man United.
Oh.
So that'll be interesting. Anyway, enough about that.
It will be.
Apparently, according to you guys in the comments, we're not allowed to talk about United and Spurs. Right, next up, Cassie-Pierre Manuel Adubi has said, I heard that some people think Thomas Partey is the best La Liga player this season. Do you agree?
One of the best La Liga players this season, 100%. Great player. There wouldn't be as much talk around him if he was rubbish, Best, I think there's a couple of names up for grabs. I think Odegaard has had a really, really good season. I think De Jong's had like a really good first season at Barcelona. There's a lot of names that you could throw into the mix. Obviously, your usual ones, Messi and whatnot. I probably wouldn't say, I don't think he's like the standout main amazing player of the season, but I think he's definitely had a very good season so far.
I tend to agree. The thing is, like, I realised this the other day. I was browsing through the stats, and Messi's top of the assists and goal scoring charts, and that's kind of become the norm for him. And so I'd see why people would say that Messi's been the best. Like, it's very easy to say he's been the best when you see such overwhelming stats. But I think Partey, especially, to get the recognition that he has when you're playing in a position which isn't necessarily the most glamorous or the one that gets the most recognition, like a defensive midfielder, midfielders in general. I think attackers are always the ones who get it. I think he must have done something right. So you're right, one of the best. I'd also say Thibaut Courtois as well is up there for me.
Yeah.
He's been brilliant in goal for Real Madrid, considering his first season.
Yeah.
But Partey's definitely one of the better ones. Right. Wow.
Is this me next? Oh, a lovely name for me to pronounce. My apologies again for probably messing this up. So I'm going to go with, I feel like this is like a Martin. So a Martin Mavrodiev. I'm going with that. My apologies. I don't know the actual letters in this name.
It's in Cyrillic. It's Russian, I believe.
Yeah. So what do AC Milan have to do to get back to the top of European football?
Oh my God, so much. The board need to stop pissing around. There's all this argument between Maldini and Ralf Rangnick, and there's so much kind of off the pitch that really is taken away from the fact that they do have a decent set of players. For me, with AC Milan, it's consistency.
Yeah.
I just feel like they'll have one season where they challenge and they do quite well, and then it'll fall apart, whether that's on or off the pitch. they really need to be able, much like many teams, it's the same with many teams, they need to be able to keep a core of players together for long enough. And on paper, they made some good signings. You know, Paqueta came in and was really good and then sort of fell off. The same thing with Franck Kessie as well. You know, they bought Piontek after half a brilliant season in Serie A and he's banging in goals. And then halfway through the next season, he's shipped off to Hertha because he's not good enough. Or he's gone off the boil so quickly. I feel like that really sums up why AC just haven't. The thing is, you have one good season, it's fine. You build on that. You bring in some new players and you get better and better and better. And they really seem to be stuck in this mire of every time they do something good, there's always something negative that happens as well. In terms of being like a top European club as well, there's also a few weeks ago was released the plans for the new San Siro that them and Inter are going to share, which looks amazing. So that goes some way to helping as well, having a brand new stadium and all the money that produces. But yeah, I think both on and off the pitch, they need to get some sort of rhythm and consistency and, you know, sort stuff out before they start attempting to get back to the top of European football. I mean, I can't even remember what the reason was this season, but they pulled themselves out of European competition. That's practically unheard of.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just... for me, I would definitely say consistency on the pitch in terms of players performing, having a good spine to the team. We'll definitely have players like Çalhanoğlu as well, incredibly talented. Hasn't quite taken that next step to the top level. I mean, there's talk of Luka Jovic coming in as well, Denzel Dumfries too. Even Rodriguez, who they managed to take away from Wolfsburg, was a brilliant left back. Hasn't really quite cut the mustard in Serie A. So, that's a lot. There is a lot going on. Sorry, AC fans, if they can sort it out. Me next. Sahel Omar Rasuli has said, will Aubameyang join Real Madrid this summer? Love from French Guiana. Wow, that's awesome to think that you guys are watching from French Guiana.
Yeah,
that's super cool. Thank you, Sahel.
I mean, obviously, we don't have a crystal ball, so I can't say he's 100%. I am not.
We're not insiders, by the way, guys.
Yeah. I think there's a good chance that he could join Real Madrid. I could see it happening, providing they kind of have this clear out that they clearly need. I think if Bale makes this move, whether it's to Newcastle, back to Spurs, wherever he goes, I think if Bale goes, Luka Jovic goes, and they have that bit of a clear out. I think you've got Benzema, who, you know, I think it would be good for him to have somebody else up front. Hazard, this whole second chance situation, we'll see what happens there, because that is definitely not guaranteed at the moment. They've got Vinicius, is it? Who's still quite young. Yeah, so I could see him. I can see where the gap is for him to be. I think there are a lot of clubs kind of asking for him. I know there's some rumour flying around that apparently he promised his granddad that he would go and play there. So I guess, I don't know, maybe there's interest from both sides.
I saw this online. I was like, guys, we really need to stop jumping on social media nonsense. I mean, it's a rumour. It doesn't really mean anything. I could tell my granddad that I want to play for Real Madrid, but I'm not sure they'll sign me. Like, you know what I mean? There's a lot more to it. Sorry, Grandpa, if you're watching, it's not going to happen.
I could see it happening. I could see where he would fit in. Do I think he's 100% going to go there? I'm not too sure, because there are a lot of clubs linked with him. Yeah, exactly. I mean, they'd have to pay some money from this summer, where it's clear he's not going to sign again at Arsenal. They get him for free next summer. It'll be 31 by then, I believe. Yeah. I don't know. I'm unsure. We're not insiders. True. Okay, so next question is from AZ. So, who is the most underrated manager ever? In my opinion, it's Luis Enrique, I think we were going for there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Bit of a misspelling, but we get the question. Yeah, well, this is a difficult one with managers, because there are so many managers who have a good impact on football, good impact on players, who do really well with the constraints that they're given. Yeah. But then there's obviously, you know, people who just see the biggest teams and who just want to talk about big names. Underrated manager in the Premier League is Eddie Howe.
Yeah,
took
100%.
Bournemouth from League Two to the Premier League and 5 consecutive years in the Premier League on a shoestring budget at best until they got the Premier League money. But even then, a very, very small-sized club in a catchment area that the bigger clubs like Southampton can, take players away. And, London, all their clubs aren't too far either. So he's done brilliant. Is he going to go down the annals of history as one of the most underrated managers ever? Probably not. The same thing could be said for Sean Dyche in the Premier League. I mean, now at the moment, Marco Rose is doing a brilliant job with Gladbach. But in terms of ever...
You know what name kind of springs to mind? And I'm not saying like ever, just a manager that I always think I felt like he should have maybe been given a few more props, was Di Matteo when he was at Chelsea. Because when he replaced Villas-Boas, they won the Champions League, they beat Liverpool in the FA Cup final, then obviously they got rid of him. I know the rest of his career maybe wasn't amazing, but I just think that little period at Chelsea, I don't know, I just always felt like, because weren't they losing to Napoli when Villas-Boas was there, and then he took the second leg and turned it around. I just thought it was a nice little story, and I just thought, you know what, props to him for that. Because he was thrown in at the deep end as a caretaker.
Easily forgotten. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Most underrated manager ever. I'm going to go for... The thing is as well, with if the recency bias plays an issue because people just remember the last 6, 7, 8 years. Louis van Gaal was phenomenal in the 90s and 2000s. But people just remember him for being a bit of a tit at Man United. And
then it's like the way they treated him was just like horrendous.
And was an unbelievable manager. The same thing with Carlo Ancelotti, I feel. Things... Yeah,
when you look at some of the stuff he's done.
Oh my God, and what Ancelotti is one insane manager. And I just think, you in the last few years, you'd say, didn't win much for Napoli, got sacked, now at Everton. Real Madrid stint didn't exactly last a long time. I'd go with Ancelotti or Van Gaal. It's the most underrated manager.
Good shout. Yeah.
Next up, Dr. Equinox. So do you think England will challenge for the Euros next year, and how far do you think they'll get in the next World Cup?
I think that they will definitely challenge for the Euros next year. I was excited about the Euros this year with England and the squad that they've got, and I think in a couple of years, when the World Cup comes around, I think it will be... They're moving into this younger team now. Obviously now you've not got, the likes of Rooney and stuff like that. It is moving more into a younger team, as we saw at the World Cup. And I think the addition of certain names, obviously Sancho, or maybe even Mason Greenwood, not saying that Rashford's not been good because he's been phenomenal, but I think a couple more years for him as well because he's still quite young.
Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount.
I think definitely. I think the World Cup, I would really like to be optimistic, as every English person is. The World Cup, it's coming home. I think you've got to look at, how well we did in the last one. And I would like to see us get to that stage again and further.
Yeah, I think the semi-finals for both should be a target for England. That's not to say 100%. They will reach it, because there's some other unbelievable teams. France, for me, are undoubtedly favourites.
That's the thing,
Germany as well will be better by the next Euros and the next World Cup. France, Germany, you can never write off the likes of the Netherlands and Italy coming back, even though those two have had poor international records recently. Belgium kind of coming to an end of an era with a few players, but certainly would still be good. There's 6, 7, 8 teams who are going to be great. But if England are serious about it, they should be going to the semis.
Definitely. Right, next question is from Omkar Rajman. So, who is the best goalkeeper of all time?
Oh, Jesus. For some reason, I've noticed this on videos. When we talk about goalkeepers, people go nuts when you don't mention someone else.
Yeah.
If you forget someone.
People are very protective over their goalkeepers.
I did it one time. I was listing keepers off the top of my head on a video, and I was like, they're all good. Like Edison, Alisson, ter Stegen, brilliant keepers out there. And everyone's like, whoa, what about Oblak? What about De Gea? And I was like, whoa, guys, calm down.
It was just off the top of your head.
I didn't forget them. It was just a few examples. So if we don't mention your favourite keeper in this next few minutes, it's okay. You can let us know. We don't remember every goalkeeper that ever played. But Mark Poom is the greatest goalkeeper of all time. No, I'm kidding. Not him. I would... People, as well, it's funny when I see in the comments people throwing out Lev Yashin. I mean, no one's ever seen him play. I mean, unless you're over, 50 or 60, you would never have seen him play. He's one of these guys who's built up such an internet legacy from people not being able to prove that he was bad because no one's actually got much footage of him. So everyone's like, oh yeah, Lev Yashin, definitely he's the best. I'm like, I'll give it a rest. You've never even seen him play. I mean, I'm sure he was brilliant and definitely deserves all the plaudits because of, kind of what he achieved. But I still think, and this goes in line with everything, I think that football has developed and today's players are better, especially goalkeepers. What goalkeepers can do now? I mean, there was a few people at Bayern Munich think Manuel Neuer is good enough to play in midfield from a technical ability perspective. I mean, obviously, I don't think he'd be a great midfielder. But technique-wise, I mean, there are so many footballers, goalkeepers who are unbelievable footballers as well now.
Yeah.
I mean, the best of all time is too difficult. For me, it's far too difficult. You can point
Is there anyone that you watched that just made, not even necessarily on technical ability, but just a goalkeeper that you watched and you thought, I just really like everything about them and just like what they've done for their club maybe, or
when I was growing up, it was Iker Casillas.
I was going to say him.
He was everything that I thought like a foreign goalkeeper was. Like he was really good with his feet. And in England at the time, we didn't have too many good keepers who were good footballers. Very good shot stoppers and goalkeepers and sort of big Neville Southall type lads.
And he's won it all as well.
He's won everything.
Very good captain.
Very good captain.
Nice backstory, nice guy.
Champions League games, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Most Champions League appearances ever.
Yeah, I think so.
So technically, I defy anyone in the comments section to argue with me against Casillas. No one's got better stats than him or better records. So how can you argue it? Obviously you can because there's loads of other good goalkeepers, but
he's won it all as well.
Casillas, I'm going with Casillas. What about you? You agreeing?
I would agree. I just remember watching him and I don't know, like you say, I just think he was a really good all-round goalkeeper, really good leader. And I think especially watching him at the World Cup when they won it, that was a really enjoyable World Cup. So I just think not necessarily like you say, you could sit here all day and argue about technical stuff, but I just think from a nostalgic point of view, someone that springs to mind, it would be him. Yeah.
Nazir Safai said, who is the most underrated Ballon d'Or winner of all time?
Oh, I mean, you've got to go back quite a bit if you're not going to be talking.
I was going to say for the younger generation, I defy anyone to name me who won it before Ronaldo and Messi. If you don't know, then it's very difficult. Recency bias all over. I mean, one person I probably wouldn't. This person probably came close if I'm thinking about it. I don't feel bad for him because he still had a very good career and he still did really well. I always think about Kaká because he kind of got overtaken by this Messi Ronaldo wave. And I think people don't always remember just how good he was. I mean, I know he had a lot of injuries and stuff like that, but he always springs to mind. But I think the one that you're obviously going to go for, I would have to go with Cannavaro because I think as a defender to win the Ballon d'Or, I think people kind of forget that happened. And I think for him to have won it, especially at that time, like how many good players there were, for him to have won that, I think is pretty special. And after this Messi-Ronaldo saga kind of winds down, I think it would be really good to see more players that aren't necessarily just strikers scoring goals, winning it. I think he's more of a forgotten one, but I've also thought that this question makes no sense. How is someone underrated if they're rated as number one?
If they're named like the best.
How can they be underrated if they're the best?
Should we change it to more like forgotten, shall we say? I don't know.
No.
Not enough respect put on them.
I agree with what you say, as in Cannavaro should be remembered as a mammoth of his time. Who's the most underrated Ballon d'Or winner? That doesn't make any sense because they're rated number one. And like when you look through the list of who's won it, you're like, well, they're a bloody good player. That's why they won it. Maybe overrated would be the better question. So who won it, who wasn't necessarily deserving of it? And then people could probably point, recently to Luka Modric. But then, other players before that who were really, really good. Did Michael Owen deserve it? He won it off the back of winning, sounds harsh, but the lesser treble with Liverpool. I mean, I think they won the FA Cup, the League Cup, and the UEFA Cup, so kind of the second-rate competitions. Did Owen necessarily deserve to win that one? But yeah, there's kind of a few others. Pavel Nedved won it the year after, but then he was brilliant for Juventus.
True.
So yeah, you can't be overrated or underrated if you won it. Like you're the best.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. I think also there is a big kind of topic of conversation about best players who never won it. Now that is all the players, like you mentioned, who have been overtaken by the Ronaldo, Messi sort of hype.
Exactly.
Iniesta never won one. Manuel Neuer could have been in with a shout. Frank
100%.
Ribéry, Ian Robin in their best days, and Xavi. I mean, there's so many players. Again, let us know who you think could have won a Ballon d'Or if it wasn't for Ronaldo and Messi.
Yeah,
that's the better
question.
question.
That's a good question. Yeah.
I really should use my fake Matt Froelich not fake account to write these in.
Next week, when we see a lot of questions from you, we'll know. Okay, so next question is from Extreme3ZZZZ. If you had to pick a new favourite team, who would it be? Arsenal?
Arsenal. No, if I had to pick a new favourite team. It's difficult to think about. I like a lot of teams. To pick a new favourite... In England or in Europe? Because you could pick anyone in Europe.
I'd say anywhere.
I don't have like an affiliation for any European team that's so strong that I definitely wouldn't pick them. A new favourite team. We spoke about this before.
I'd go with Real Madrid just because I lived in Madrid and that's my only argument.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Madrid kind of growing up. They symbolised European football. They were big. I also liked Juventus. Now I always follow Celta in Spain, and I know everyone thinks that's really weird, but I don't know why. I'm just a big fan of them. But no, if I had to pick a new favourite team, it probably would be someone along the lines of Juve or Madrid. Yeah. I guess that makes you seem a bit glory hunter-like.
Yeah, a little bit.
Pick a second favourite team. I'm kind of like Roma.
Yeah.
We have a few friends who support Roma here at Onefootball, so
yeah,
I'll stick with Roma. 5VG5 said, "What non-related football thing are you most excited to do after quarantine?"
Probably, I don't know. Obviously, seeing family and friends will be nice.
Barbecue in the park.
Yeah, but I'm one of these people that's, gym, I think.
Go to the gym,
Go back to the gym. I was one of those that missed out on ordering kind of workout equipment at home. It's all sold out, so I've had, tins of beans and stuff like that. So it'd be nice to use gym equipment again.
Oddly specific. Right, next up.
Yeah. Okay, so this is from Soccer ! So this is a question for both of us. You can go first. So how did you end up supporting your respective clubs, and what exactly got you interested in football in the first place?
From my dad. Yeah, pretty simple. Dad's a massive Spurs fan. So me and my brother and my sisters and all big Spurs fans. And what got us interested? I guess it's kind of through him.
In culture, isn't it?
It's kind of in your culture. I mean, especially growing up in North London, where, I mean, to be fair, anywhere in London, but North London especially, where football is so big and it's such a hotbed of football. Given not only the Arsenal-Tottenham rivalry, but spreading to the rest of London. I struggle to think of a city in the world where there are that many, firstly, professional teams, and secondly, top-level teams. At one point, I think there were 7 London clubs in the Premier League. I think it was Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, West Ham, Fulham, Palace, QPR. And then you're not even including the years that Charlton were in the Premier League, and I think Maybe when Charlton were in there, QPR or Fulham weren't. But then you've also looking at Millwall, Brentford, Leyton Orient, further down to Barnet. I'm probably missing a few there. But yeah, it's London and North London especially, such a hotbed of football that wherever I went at school or with friends, it's just it's so massively into the culture. You can't really ignore it. There's not many other sports that are so massive. But yeah, definitely through my dad for supporting Tottenham. I guess Manchester's the same, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know people don't like us talking about our clubs, but I'm going to talk about Manchester United now, guys. Get ready, okay? So, yeah, I think the area of Manchester that I live in is very, very, very red. My entire family supports Manchester United, and I've got quite a big family. So if I would have supported anybody else, even, further out to, like Wigan or Bolton, I would have been disowned 100%. I think, again, like my granddad was a die-hard Manchester United fan. Like, even in his 70s, he was still with his season ticket, going to the games and stuff like that. It was always kind of on TV because my nan as well is a massive Manchester United fan. And then I think the 2006 World Cup sticks in my mind as something that I literally watched every single game, and I was maybe a little bit later kind of getting into it, because I know a lot of people it's more when you're younger, but I just remember watching that, and for me it was just the excitement of it. I think especially like a World Cup, I think to get into football through a World Cup is kind of like a good way, because it is just so exciting. And like I was making my mum buy the England flags for the car and like all that shit, and then they'd blow off and we'd have to buy new ones. And, like, oh my God. It was on a stupid level. But yeah, I guess that's probably how I got interested.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a cultural thing in England.
100%.
I remember going to my first Tottenham game when I was like 4 years old.
Wow.
With my dad and my brother. I had the season tickets since I was 4, and like the excitement is just, it's probably all I thought about until like 2 weeks later when you go to another home game.
Yeah.
Like,
true.
Yeah, I guess it's a long-standing thing. Yeah, there's no way my kids, if I ever have kids, ever, would support another team.
Oh, 100%.
That's looking into the future, but I couldn't do it. Can you imagine if your kid was like, I'm a City fan?
They wouldn't be my child, end off.
Oh, God. Okay, that question went way wild. Last but not least, Liv Thorpe has said, what is the best place you've ever travelled to or visited? I like these personal questions. Get to know a bit more about us, guys.
There's so many places. A couple of Caribbean islands do spring to mind. Antigua, obviously Jamaica. But I would probably say Venice, I really enjoyed. I've been to Venice a couple of times. And I think, cultures all over the world are extremely interesting, but I think Italian culture and architecture and stuff like that is really beautiful. So yeah, I'll go with Venice. What about you?
There's quite a lot on the list.
Yeah.
Every place is fascinating. Indonesia was amazing.
I can imagine.
So yeah, that was quite a phenomenal place. I guess that because it was so vastly different to kind of English Western culture. That it was amazing. Indonesia was incredible. I'm trying to think where else. So many good places. There were so many like cities around the world which I absolutely love as well. Like Seattle in America is amazing. Sydney is great, and as is Melbourne.
All these places we can't go to.
Yeah, all these places you can't go to. Actually, St. Petersburg as well was incredible in Russia too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. Wow, what a city. What a city. But I'm going to stick with Indonesia. A great place. Right, that is all. Thank you so much for all your questions and for the interesting ones. Quick reminder, every Wednesday evening in the YouTube community tab, you can leave your questions. And a quick shout out, if you've made it far in this video, make sure you check previous episodes. Because your question may have already been answered. So yes, if you're asking us about what's Messi going to do, or if Liverpool are going to sign Timo Werner, we probably won't answer because we've covered it a billion times in every video on OneFootball. So yeah, make sure you guys think of something interesting. And yeah, the non-football questions as well, sure, fire them over. But yeah, from myself and Angelina this week, that is everything. Thank you very much, and we will see you guys next time.